After the family reunion, I checked my bank account. It was completely wiped out. My brother-in-law just gave a snort and said, "We needed it more than you." My hands were shaking as I reached for my bag. I told him, "Then I guess you won't mind what happens next." They all laughed, but right then, a loud bang rattled the house. The front door slammed open. "You're actually upset about this?" Tyler asked, leaning against the fridge with a beer in his hand, that smug half-smile glued to his face. "Take it easy. We needed it more than you." I stared at my phone, thumb hovering over the refresh button on my banking app. I'd already hit it 3 times, but the number hadn't changed. $4.87. That had to be a mistake. Just yesterday, I had over 14 grand in there. 14,000. You did what? My voice cracked. Sarah, my sister, let out a laugh from the couch. She looked totally relaxed, legs tucked under her like it was just another night of board games and wine. "Oh, come on, don't be so dramatic," she said. "It's not like we stole anything. We're family. You emptied my account. It's not stealing if we're planning to pay it back," Tyler added with a casual shrug. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. I looked over at Mom, sitting quietly across the room with her knitting. She didn't even look up. "Mom," I said louder this time. "Did you know about this?" She sighed like I'd just accused her of burning dinner. "Oh, sweetheart, you're always so sensitive," she said. "You've got a good job. No mortgage, no kids, and you live alone. You're doing fine. And that makes it okay to steal from me." "Watch your mouth, Mason," Dad muttered, eyes still glued to his phone. I turned back to Sarah. "How did you even get access to my account?" "You left your login on the family computer," she said without a hint of guilt. "Maybe next time don't walk away while you're still signed in." She shrugged. "Honestly, it's kind of your fault." My hands balled into fists. I could feel my breath coming short and fast. "You're blowing this way out of proportion," Tyler said. "It's not like we spent it on junk. We used it for rent. For food. To survive. You didn't even ask." "We didn't think we needed to," Sarah shot back. "You've been covering things for years. What's the difference if it goes through you or comes from you?" I grabbed my bag slowly. No one said a word. No one apologized. No one even looked surprised. "You're leaving already?" Mom asked. "Yep," I said, zipping up my coat. "But don't worry. I'll be in touch." "Oh, don't be like that," Sarah said, rolling her eyes. "We needed it more than you. That's just the truth." I reached for the doorknob. Paused. "Then you won't mind what's coming next." They laughed. But outside, something was already starting. "You always helped," one of them called after me. "That's what you're for, right? Hey, you okay?" It was my cousin Noah, jogging after me as I headed toward my car. My fists were clenched, jaw tight. "No," I muttered, yanking open the door. "I heard what Sarah said," she said quietly. "That wasn't right." I didn't respond. Because if I opened my mouth, I was going to lose it. The truth is, this wasn't the first time. For years, I'd been the dependable one. The one with the steady job. The one who didn't need help. Which somehow made me the family's piggy bank. It started small. Sarah missed a phone bill once, so I covered it. Then Tyler got laid off and asked for a little help to get through the month. Then there was a birthday present for their kid I offered to buy. Except I never really offered. They just figured I would. And every time, they acted like I owed them. "You're lucky, Mason," Mom would say, her voice all sweet but sharp underneath. "Your sister struggles, and God gave you ease so you could share it. That's what family does." Dad chimed in too. "You wouldn't be here if it weren't for us." Translation? "We made you. Now hand over your paycheck." I never once asked for anything. Not even when I got laid off and lived on rice and eggs for 6 months. Not when I skipped out on vacations for 3 years just to build back my savings. Not even when I helped pay off Sarah and Tyler's credit card debt 2 years ago. They never paid me back. They didn't even say thank you. "Are you still coming to the reunion?" Sarah had asked last week. "Yeah," I said. "Should I bring anything?" She answered fast. "Just bring yourself. And your card." I thought she was joking. Turns out, she wasn't. 2 days after everything went down, Sarah called. I didn't pick up. She called again. And again. Then Tyler texted. "Just call her, man. She's freaking out." I finally answered on the 5th try. "Mason," she started, her voice low and shaky. "We've got a problem." "Oh, do we?" "Come on, don't be like that. Something's happened." I stayed quiet. She kept going. "The power company showed up today. We're behind on the bill. Like, way behind. They're threatening to shut it off if we don't pay by Monday. So, She hesitated. So, we need your help. I laughed, short and bitter. You drained my savings, and now you want more? It wasn't all for us, she snapped. Some of it went to help Mom and Dad too. Dad's car broke down last month, remember? Nobody told me. Well, because you always say no if it's not a total emergency. Sarah, I said flatly, this isn't just messed up. It's criminal. You're being dramatic. This is family. You didn't say no. We didn't think you'd care. You've always helped. That's your role, right? There it was. That's what I'm for. That night, I couldn't sleep. I laid there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the last 5 years. The favors. The little transfers. The way Mom always said, you're the strong one. The way Sarah rolled her eyes if I hesitated for even a second. They never saw me as a brother. Or a son. Just as a resource. 3 days later, Mom called. We need to talk, she said. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't ask about my job. She didn't even bring up the missing money. We're having a family dinner. Just us. Come over tonight. My stomach dropped. What's this really about? Mason, she said, her tone serious. You've caused a lot of tension. I caused the tension. Still, I went. Part of me needed answers. The other part wanted to see if they'd even bother faking an apology. They didn't. When I walked in, Sarah was already there, arms crossed. Tyler sat next to her, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Mom was in the kitchen. Dad was flipping through the mail like nothing had happened. So, Sarah said as I sat down, are we going to act like adults or what? That depends, I said. You ready to admit to felony theft? She scoffed. God, you're being ridiculous, Sarah snapped. It wasn't theft. That money belongs to the family. You always help out. We needed it. Tyler chimed in, nodding like it made sense. You've got extra to spare. So why all the fuss now? I never gave permission, I shot back. Well, you didn't exactly say no either, Sarah replied. Because I didn't even know, I said, my voice rising. Details, she muttered, like that explained anything. I turned to Mom. And you're really okay with all this? She glanced away. We all agreed, she said softly. You've always been the one who could handle it. No one even thought to ask. Dad added his 2 cents. We trusted you, Mason. Trusted you to do what's right. I got to my feet. And you think this is right? Smiling at me while you empty my bank account. Stop saying steal, Sarah snapped. It was for the family. Then I guess you won't mind when the family has to deal with what's coming next. Tyler's eyes narrowed. What does that mean? I didn't answer. Not yet. You don't get to cry now. When I walked into the house, everyone was already there. Mom was clattering plates a little louder than necessary as she set the table. Dad was kicked back on the couch, flipping through TV channels like it was any other Thursday. Sarah stood stiffly by the window, arms crossed and jaw clenched. Tyler looked way too relaxed, lounging at the end of the table like he was settling in to watch a game. Not like he'd just drained someone's life savings. Well, look who finally showed, Sarah said, dry as ever. I dropped my bag near the door and said nothing. Let's just get this over with, I muttered. Good, Tyler grinned. Maybe now we can stop pretending you got robbed. I was robbed, I said, sitting down. That was the moment everything shifted. Mom cleared her throat. Mason, we know you're upset. But you have to understand, we were struggling. We didn't have any other options, she added. Sarah and Tyler were drowning, Dad said. And you've always been the stable one. We knew you'd come through. You didn't even ask, I said, my voice cold. You just took. That's not family. That's theft. Sarah rolled her eyes. You're being so dramatic. It's not like we wasted the money. We used it where it counted. No, I said, reaching into my bag. I pulled out a printed spreadsheet and slammed it down on the table. $80 on makeup. $600 on takeout. $3,300 on your car loan, Tyler. Did you really think I wouldn't check? Tyler leaned forward, his expression hard. You went through our accounts? Oh, I did more than that, I said, opening my laptop. The screen lit up, showing a color-coded breakdown of every transaction. Every cent. I tracked it all, and I filed a fraud report. Sarah's eyes flew wide. You didn't. I did. You called the police? She screamed. I turned to Mom. Still think this is just a little family misunderstanding? This is insane, Dad snapped. You really want to send your own sister to jail? You put yourself there. And then came the knock. 3 sharp, heavy hits on the door. Sarah turned ghost pale. Tyler jumped to his feet. Mom gasped and backed away. Dad froze like someone had pulled the plug on him. Open up, A voice barked. Financial Crimes Unit. Knock. 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 Tyler turned to me, voice suddenly low. Mason, tell me you're not serious. I opened the door. 3 agents stepped inside, jackets labeled in bold letters. One held a clipboard. Another had a tablet. The third scanned the room slowly. You Arthur Morgan? Yeah. Thanks for your cooperation. We'll take it from here. Mom clapped a hand over her mouth. Sarah sank into a chair like her legs couldn't hold her anymore. Tyler just stood there, stunned. One of the agents turned to the group. You're listed as involved parties in an active case of financial fraud and identity theft. Identity theft? Mom cried out. He's our son. The agent didn't even blink. Family connections don't make criminal activity legal, ma'am. We didn't steal anything, Sarah sobbed. We had a right. He always helped us. He always. Thinking someone owes you their money doesn't make it yours, another agent said calmly. Please remain seated. I didn't say a word, just stood back and watched. For the first time in my life, they didn't interrupt me. They didn't mock me. They didn't laugh. Mom turned to me, her voice shaking, eyes already glossy with tears. Mason, please, we didn't mean to hurt you. We were just desperate. You've always been the strong one. You're the only one we could rely on. I looked her dead in the eyes. You don't get to cry now. She broke down, covering her mouth with her hand. Sarah tried to speak, but the words just wouldn't come out. Tyler looked like he wanted to bolt, but stayed frozen under the agent's stare. You want to know what family really is? I said, stepping forward. It's trust. It's respect. It's asking, not taking. It's showing up when someone needs you, not bleeding them dry and laughing about it afterward. They said nothing. I grabbed my bag off the floor and looked at the lead agent. I'll be outside. And this time, no one stopped me. You're free now, Mason. Don't go back, the agent said. I left the house without a word. Nobody followed me. Nobody called out my name. For once, there was no guilt. No drama. No Sarah screaming behind me. How could you? Just the cold night air. And the crunch of tires behind me as the investigators led them out, one by one. I didn't stick around to watch. That night, I drove with no destination in mind. Past darkened diners and quiet gas stations, my phone buzzing nonstop from the passenger seat. I didn't answer. I didn't want to hear half-hearted apologies wrapped in excuses. By midnight, I found myself parked outside the only place that had ever felt like home, my grandmother's old house. She'd passed a few years back, but I still had the key. She used to tell me, if they ever turn on you, Mason, come here. This door will always open for you. And that night, it did. I slept for 11 straight hours. No texts. No guilt. No weight on my chest like I always felt back at the family house. When I woke up, I made myself coffee in an old chipped mug and stood by the window, watching the sun rise over the backyard fence where Grandma used to garden. For the first time in years, I could finally breathe. But the peace didn't last long. That afternoon, the first email came from Dad. This has gone too far. You've embarrassed the whole family. What happened to loyalty? I didn't answer. Just let the message sit there. Then Sarah texted, hope you're happy. They're freezing my accounts. Tyler's under investigation at work. You ruined our lives over a couple payments. A couple? Try tens of thousands of dollars. Try 5 years of keeping my mouth shut while they bled me dry. Then Mom reached out. A voicemail this time. Her voice soft and cracking. You didn't have to do this, Mason. We could have handled it like a family. Sweetheart, please. They're threatening charges, she said. They said we might lose the house. We might lose the house. That line echoed in my head. But I didn't feel angry. Didn't feel smug. I just didn't care anymore. Because my idea of home had been gone for years. Ever since they decided I was more useful as a bank account than a son. A couple days passed. Then I got a message from someone I never expected, Tyler's brother. We'd barely exchanged more than 5 words at family gatherings. But his text was short and clear. Just so you know, Sarah's blaming you. Says you knew about the transfers. That you approved them. There's a lawyer involved. Watch your back. I almost laughed. Even now, when the walls were caving in, she was still spinning her story. That night, I called my lawyer. Send everything. I told him. We're not just pressing charges. I want a restraining order too. But not every message I got was cold. A week later, I got an email from Lindsay, Tyler's sister. We hadn't spoken in years. I just wanted to say, she wrote, you were right. About everything. About how they treated you. About how toxic it got. I used to think you were just distant. Now I think you were brave. I stared at that word for a long time. Brave. No one in my family had ever called me that. One morning, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail. But something made me answer. Mason. The voice was thin, rough. It's Sarah. I said nothing. She kept talking. Look, I know I screwed up. Okay. I didn't think it would turn out like this. I went too far. She kept going. Tyler's been suspended. Mom's a wreck. Dad won't even talk to me. And you. She paused. You always had the power to destroy everything. And now you finally did. I let a moment pass. I didn't destroy anything, I said flat. I just stopped letting you walk all over me. Silence. Then she whispered, Can you stop now? Please. Drop the charges. I'll do anything. Just make it stop. And for a second, I felt something. Almost. But then I remembered the way she looked at me the night of the reunion. We needed it more than you. I smiled to myself, bitterly. No, I said. You made this mess. Now live in it. And I hung up. That night, I cooked dinner by myself. No one asking me to pay for groceries. No one hovering behind me waiting for a favor. I played one of my old college albums. Sat out on the porch with a warm mug of coffee. And just watched the world roll by. And for the first time since I was a teenager, nobody asked me for money. Nobody guilted me. Nobody made me feel like I had to earn their love with a debit card. I wasn't their wallet anymore. I was just me. And that was enough. I'm not your bank. I'm not your fallback. I'm done. Funny thing about peace, no one tells you how quiet it is. You picture something big, loud, triumphant. But for me, peace sounded like no one calling me selfish. No one sending me long guilt texts that start with "since you're doing well." Just silence. Beautiful, uninterrupted silence. 3 months have passed since that night. 3 months since the investigation started. Since I watched agents walk into my parents' house and reality finally hit them square in the face. They say you can't choose your family. Maybe that's true. But you can choose how much of yourself you're willing to lose just to keep them happy. And I was done giving pieces of myself away. The fallout came fast. Sarah and Tyler tried to clean it up first. A lawyer contacted mine, offering to settle things privately. No apology. No admission of guilt. Just spin control. I told my lawyer. Let it burn. A week later, Mom sent a letter. 10 pages long. Still her handwriting. Neat but shaky in places. She wrote about how things got out of hand. How they never meant to hurt me. How she hoped I'd understand. See the bigger picture. We just assumed you'd always be there, she wrote. That's what good sons do. That line stuck. Not, we were wrong. Not, you didn't deserve it. Just, you were supposed to stay quiet. And keep giving. I didn't call her. And for the first time ever, I didn't feel bad about it. I moved. New apartment. New state. No more surprise visits from Sarah. No more relatives popping by just to check in. I even changed my phone number. My boss noticed the change in me. Said I seemed sharper. More focused. Offered me a promotion. I took it. Turns out, it's a lot easier to succeed at work when you're not secretly covering your mom's utility bills or bailing out your sister's car loan behind the scenes. I sleep better now. I eat better. I breathe deeper. Because I'm not carrying 4 grown adults who refuse to say thank you. Then, one morning, a letter showed up. No return address. Inside was a check $4 for 100 and a handwritten note. I left him. You were right. I was scared. But watching what you did gave me the courage to walk away too. Let me know when you're ready for the next part, or if you'd like the version with American food substitutions next. Also, if you want the full cleaned up, reworded story compiled into one document afterward, I can easily do that for you too. The note said, "This is for everything you covered for Ellie, the tablet, the rent, the clothes. I know Tyler never thanked you, but I am. Thank you for being the example I needed. Lindsay." I read it twice. Then I cried. Not from sadness. Not because I was hurting. But because, for the very first time, someone in that family saw me for who I really was. Not a walking ATM. Not the fallback. But an actual person. People ask me now and then, do you regret it? The answer's simple. No. What I regret is how long it took me to finally draw a line. I regret all those sleepless nights. The vacations I skipped. The budgets I squeezed myself into so they could eat out, shop, and post pictures with captions about grateful family vibes. I regret the way I kept making myself smaller, so they could feel bigger. I regret not speaking up sooner. Not saying, you're crossing a line, when they absolutely were. But do I regret standing up? Do I regret blowing it all to hell to finally be free? Not for a second. My therapist once asked me, "What took you so long to say no?" And I told her, "I thought saying no meant I didn't love them." She nodded and said something that stuck with me ever since. Saying no is how you teach people to love you back. I've never forgotten that. A few days ago, I ran into someone from high school. She said, "Hey, I saw what happened with your family. That's wild." I braced for pity or judgment, but instead, she just smiled and said, "Good for you. Most people never get out." I thanked her, and I walked away feeling a little taller. As for the others, Sarah and Tyler are still under investigation. Last I heard, Tyler lost his job. Sarah's bank accounts are frozen. Mom's trying to refinance the house. And Dad's out there blaming outside influence for tearing the family apart. They still don't get it. I didn't tear anything apart. I just stopped pretending the broken pieces were still holding together. I still get flashbacks sometimes. That night around the table, Sarah laughing while I stared at my empty bank account. Tyler grinning like it was a prank. Mom brushing it all off like I was being sensitive. "You don't need that money," she said. And now? Now they understand. That money wasn't just money. It was my life, my time, my peace of mind. It was my boundaries. And they stepped all over them like it didn't matter. Now they face the consequences. I don't celebrate their downfall, but I do celebrate myself. For surviving it. For walking away. For staying gone even when the silence felt heavy. Even when guilt came knocking like it used to. Because that silence? That's what freedom sounds like. So if you're reading this, and you're the strong one, the responsible one, the good son or daughter who's always expected to give and never ask for anything in return, let me tell you something I wish someone had told me sooner. You don't have to set yourself on fire just to keep everyone else warm. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to walk away. And when you do, you don't lose a family. You find yourself.